Hello. I'm going to be writing. I know you guys miss seeing me, so I thought, why not just go live again? It's just this time I'm going to be writing, so you guys get the little bit of ASMR. Making macaroni? That's cool. Oh my god, I think I kind of want macaroni. Sorry, I'm having to charge my phone. Oh. Having to charge my phone. I think for whatever reason, I'm just in a writing mood. Oh my god. So whoever makes technology, why do you make it so that the screen turns off? Like so quickly. I'm like, I don't understand. Come on. There you go. Charge. No, charge. Charge. Thank you. Okay, now we can write. I think I'm kind of like really getting into the writing mood. So. Should I drink milk or cola? I can't decide. I think for this time of year, milk would be a good idea. Milk and cookies. Yeah. But for me, it's really not that late.
Yeah, it's only 8 p.m. For me, it's like 8:30.
That's good. I'm glad it's delicious.
I know, right? I'm kind of getting hungry too. Oh, God.
Oh, hey, Jess.
Oh, I see. Oh, sweet. That's good. You can talk about whatever it is here. That's fine.
You guys are very quiet. Oh my god. You're not changing it, are you?
I am.
Oh.
I need something to sing to. I'm in my head.
Okay, that means I have to leave, guys.
Huh? What?
I'm talking to them.
Are you saying something to me?
I just can't stream with that in the background because I'll get heavily copyrighted.
I didn't know that. You can
It's
play
okay.
the Nutcracker though?
When it's like that kind of stuff, it doesn't have any words, and some of them were not the official Nutcracker ones, so.
I'll just put music in my room.
No, it's okay.
No, I want it in here anyways.
Okay, maybe I don't have to leave.
You searched up Lindsay Sterling?
Yeah.
I was just asking if that's what you were watching. Or if that's what you were listening to.
No, I was just listening to the Nutcracker. Come on, you stupid thing. No, it's okay, guys. I'm actually staying. Damn it. Yeah. We did hear Lindsay. Nah! Charge! Thank you. Let's see about chapter 6. Let's go to the other one so I understand what's happening. Okay guys, I'm gonna have to reread the whole thing. I'm just gonna read it for you so that way you're not bored. Ava looked around in the pitch darkness surrounding her as she knew all too well. A being stood before her smiling. It was the one she hated the most. A smiling man with a red circle nose, red, white, blue, and green makeup plastered on his face. Red and blue frilly clothes and curly red hair. It was the clown, the entity she saw the most. It used to be terrifying, but she had seen the clown since she was just 2 years old. At this point, she believed this entity and all the other monster like entities were real. "Can't you say anything, clown?" Ava exclaimed. The creature cocked his head to the side and smiled, showing its dirty, sharp teeth. "Fine, have it your way," she screamed. Walking away, the entities observed her like they always did. Ava walked and walked. She suddenly had a shiver run down her spine and darted her head behind her. There was nothing unusual, except she still felt as if she was being watched. Suddenly, she heard a chuckling sound, but it sounded weird, almost like it wasn't a sound. She heard it, but she didn't hear it at the same time. She started shivering. No, it couldn't be. She heard it laughing in her mind. "You're absolutely perfect." She flinched in response to the words she heard once again in her mind. She ran and ran as fast as she could. She didn't even want to see this entity. Before she knew it, her eyes opened and she was awake. Ava's breathing was irregular and ragged. That voice didn't sound human or like the entities she grew up with in her nightmares. Looking around in her new room, it was still bare with tons of moving boxes everywhere. Her room was white with brown wooden doors. Her room, however, came attached with a bathroom, which made her younger two siblings jealous. In front of her bed was her closet, and to the side of it was the door to leave her room. There was even a window on the left side of her room, which she happened to hate. She just moved into a new small town, new to her at least. She hated it here already. Ava used to live in Florida, and they had the best library there. She loved it. I bet the library here is nothing in comparison to the one in Florida, Ava hissed. Again, she heard a chuckling sound in her mind. Library, it spoke briefly. Ava darted her eyes frantically, searching for this entity, but nothing was in her room. Reluctantly, can't speak. Approaching the bathroom, she searched some more and even looked in the shower, but still nothing. Over here, sweet thing, it spoke. Going to where she heard it speak, Ava realized just now. The voice sounded manly and deep, as if it were a man. She looked in the mirror in frustration. She saw her face, the white hair she hated that she had, the pale skin and skinniness she was born with. Then her reflection dissipated suddenly. The mirror was now bare and had no reflection. Then a face started appearing. It looked almost like a man. He had long, straight black hair, tan brown skin, skinny features that are almost ghost-like, and strange as well as weird markings on his face. This man felt wrong in every way possible. Suddenly, Ava's head started pounding. She heard weird noises, and it felt as if there was an immense pressure pushing against each side of her head. Oh dear, those creatures really don't like me, do they? She tried looking up at him, and he smiled, or she thought he did. It was incredibly hard to see with this immense pain plunging into her skull. She pursed her lips even as it hurt horribly. "What do you want from me?" She spoke with a ragged voice. He chuckled in response. His finger came out of the mirror, and before she knew it, she was in a dark space and the immense pain was gone. "There, that's better, isn't it?" he beckoned. Ava just nodded her head, keeping silent because she could feel it. Whoever this guy or entity was, he was dangerous. Nothing good could come from this entity. "Don't worry, I'm not going to eat you if that's what you're worried about." He walked closer to her, nice and slow, as to not startle her. It was obvious she was scared, even if he helped her, because she is special. She'll know he's dangerous. In fact, it's quite the opposite. I need you. Earlier, you mentioned the library in this town would probably be small, yes? Ava studied him. What was this entity getting at? Why would a creature be interested in a library? Well, what if I told you my library is much bigger, even bigger than the one from your old home? Ava gasped in shock. Then she stopped herself, putting her hand against her lips as to not show her excitement, but it was written all over her face. He chuckled in amusement at her actions. "You don't need to hide your true self with me, my dear. There's nothing wrong with being a bookworm. Soon you shall see that." See, this guy kept spouting nonsense. What would she need to see that involves being a bookworm? There's no way a creature like him has his own library. He would stand out too much. Suddenly, he was face to face with Ava. "In my library, you will always be welcome. For too long, you've hidden your true self, Ava." She jumped dramatically. Ava never told this creature her name, not once. Looking at him, he was smiling, but not like the clown. He didn't show his teeth. It touched her face like a father concerned for his daughter. Ava blinked for a second. Was it her, or was he being loving, almost like a father? When you're with me, you'll never have to hide that, I promise. When she woke up, she had been crying in her sleep. Okay, that's the first one. Ava touched her face. She was crying, but why? It's not like she knows this creature, but it didn't seem like the other entities. It seemed almost human, she told herself. That's why. Getting up, it was 6:30 in the morning. That was perfect. She needed to get dressed. Ava rummaged through her boxes. Hope you guys know that you guys are like getting like the start of my book. Like, this is pretty good. And it's a horror book. Ava rummaged through her boxes. Then she looked and saw an old picture of her biological father. She only met him twice when she was little, but he stuck with her. She never forgot those memories. Taking the photo in her hand, he had a book in his hand. He had brown skin, short black curly hair, and wore black clothes. That day he had been reading her favorite book, a book he made himself. He was an author, an aspiring author. He wasn't famous, but Ava was his biggest fan. The book was about a little girl waiting for her father to come back for her. It was a book made especially for Ava. She teared up at this picture. That was the last time anyone, including Ava, saw him. He went missing after that. She put the picture down. Getting dressed into her black clothes, she regretted looking at it. It was painful to think about, because he was the only person who truly cared for her. Since today was her first day for school, Ava rushed over to see the library before school officially starts. To her dismay, she was right. This library was utterly atrocious. They barely had all the genres, but suspiciously, they had a lot of horror books. However, she looked up at the fiction section and she froze in place. It was titled, "The Child Who Waits Eternally." Grabbing the book, it had no author. But when she looked inside, it had the same note she saw on the same copy she had when she was just a kid. Oh wow, usually no one pays attention to that book, but the note is pretty interesting. Ava turned her head to see a boy. There were other kids with him too. He was tall and skinny. He looked like a gamer nerd. He wore a smile plastered across his face, but it wasn't sinister. He had short, curly, dirty blonde hair, a black t-shirt, tan pants that had tons of pockets. "You're saying no one likes this book?" The boy nodded. "It may be in the fiction section, but it's obviously made for a child, so everyone considers it." So everyone considers it a book meant for the kids section. He smiled once more. Ava smiled with sadness. This book was a book she hadn't seen in so long. The boy seemed to notice a sadness in her eyes. "Does that book mean something to you?" he exclaimed. Ava looked back at him as he looked at her with a slight smile this time, obviously a bit worried for her. "You could say that, yes." The boy chuckled a bit. He wouldn't pry any more than he already did. "So my name is Damien. What's your name?" Ava lifted her head. "My name is Ava," she said bluntly. Looking at him again, he seemed respectful and sweet. He tilted his head. Maybe he wasn't just sweet, a bit quirky and curious, as if he were a cat. "So are you the new student I've heard about?" He spoke respectfully as to not sound rude. Ava just nodded her head and continued to look at the book. She wanted to keep it forever, but it would only trigger painful feelings. She decided to put the book back instead of trying to see if she could keep it. So, if you're curious, these are my friends. Damien pointed out to Ava, and the kids she had seen behind him. One kid was a girl, and she had short, curly brown hair, short features, and wore bright clothes that didn't match. Next was what looked to be an Arabic kid. He had dark brown, almost black, short, straight hair, and brown skin, but he was skinny. He wore sports t-shirt and pants. He seemed to have a twin sister who had long, lighter brown hair, but again brown skin and skinny. The one with short curly hair is Arwen. The other two are Luke and Harris, his sister. And he pointed to the kid in the very back. He had short brown, straight hair, white skin, and wore a plaid shirt and blue pants. "This is Noah," Damien exclaimed. What a check Jacob. He smiled back at me. His friends came closer. Yep, you're gonna want to drink because it's story time right now. As if they were wary of me for being the new girl. They came up to me anyway, as if they wanted to give me a chance instead of treating me how they would to someone else. "It's nice to meet you," they all said at once. I know this feeling all too well, the feeling of not belonging somewhere. I'd never belonged anywhere. It was obvious. It was obviously hoping for too much to belong in a small town. Turning around, I tried to leave, but someone grabbed my hand. "Please don't leave. I promise we don't bite." Damien had a desperate look on his face. He didn't want me to go because something bad would happen. Like he didn't want something... Damien had a desperate look on his face, like he didn't want me to go because something bad would happen. I broke free from his grip and walked out of the library. As I walked down the school hallways with gray lockers, classrooms with brown doors and white floors and walls, I wondered why it hurt my feelings they were wary of me. I've been alone my whole life outside of my house. I have people in my life, yet I don't at the same time. Walking to my first class, which was my homeroom class, I sat down in my designated seat with my name. To my dismay, the name Damien was on the table of the seat next to me. We are in the very front, right in front of the teacher where her desk and chalkboard is. I looked back at his seat and Damien was there now, as if he had appeared out of thin air. "Hello," he said as if we were meeting for the first time. I just nodded my head to be polite. He smiled in response. Then I was in math and science, art, then social studies and English. He was in every class with me and sat almost nearly next to me in each one. It was enough to not only make me anxious but annoyed by this, as if it was planned. I walked out of the school since it was over, very annoyed with my first day. Walking in the front yard of the school, I noticed something strange. It was the clown I'd always seen, but I never saw it when I was awake, and right now I was awake. My heartbeat felt as if it dropped. I felt the hairs on my skin spring up, and my body shivering in response. It looked at me and waved, then it beckoned. I felt my feet twitching and trying to move, despite me trying to stay still, as if my feet had a mind of their own. What the hell? Looking back to the clown in the distance behind the bushes in the forest, it waved its gloved hand. I tried my best I could to keep my feet on the ground, but it wasn't working. I was starting to move, and I didn't feel like I was walking. It felt as if I was being pulled to the clown. In a flash, I felt arms around my waist and hair on my neck. "Are you all right?" That was Damien's voice. Oh no, did everybody leave? Oh, I really hope everybody didn't leave. That was Damien's voice, and I could hear his friends behind us wondering the same thing. If it's all right, can we go to the library? Damien stopped hugging and nodded his head. He took my hand and locked fingers with mine. I looked up at him and he smiled. So mind telling us why a creepy clown was smiling at you and waving? Luke came up to me and said, we were in a small part of the library where the old 90s computers were. We sat in the chairs in front of the desks of the computers. Oh, you're still here? Okay. I was starting to think you guys got tired of me reading. Wait, you could see it? I spoke loudly. Yeah, of course we could see that. Of course we could. That actually isn't the least craziest thing we've ever seen, they exclaimed. Looking at them with alarm, at first I wouldn't dare think it was true, but this was some cliche they make in horror books, where small towns have these horror stories. Some thought apparitions were real because people claimed they had seen them. Look, what we mean is weird stuff has been going on in this town for decades, and your clown isn't the weirdest thing we've seen, okay? Luke exclaimed. Well, to be honest, I've known that clown for a long time. All their eyes were wide open now, and suddenly I knew where this was going. Wait, is it stalking you? Oh, maybe it wants to eat you, perhaps? Arwen yelled. And you love horror books? Oh, I'm so glad. This one, I think, is pretty interesting. I think you'd like it. It's called The Haunted Library. Also, some nicknames for it is like the Library of Doom, the Library of Death, etc. And you're about to find out why it's called that. Anyways. Wait, is it stalking you? Or maybe it wants to eat you, perhaps? Arwen yelled. No, none of those. If that was its goal, I would have done that a long time ago. However, that was the first time I saw it in real life outside of my dreams. The others gasped in shock to my words, and they had every right to be. Wait, so explain, why would you only see it in your dreams? Arwen yelled again. Since I was just 2 years old, I've had nightmares of entities in my dreams. I counted them, and there are 100 entities in my dreams. However, I couldn't even ever figure out if they were real because I only ever saw them when I was asleep and dreaming, I explained. Luke, Arwen, and Damien, and Noah started pacing in front of the chairs. Okay, this is really bad. Ava, you're being haunted by ghosts, Arwen yelled. Luke and the others agreed because what else would it be? After all, these creatures are ghosts, and ghosts haunt people. It's just what they do. Okay, you said this started after you were 2 years old, Ava nodded. Did something major happen in your life? Ava paused for a second, and they all noticed. Yes, something major, to me at least. My dad died. They all paused with looks of sadness and pity. Look, I don't need your pity, Ava screeched, while turning her head away from them. Look, we just want to help, Damien exclaimed. There's a possibility this happened because your dad died. Have you seen anything strange in your dreams other than those entities? Luke asked. Look, I don't know if this will help at all, but you know that children's book I looked at? They all nodded. Well, my dad made it. The child in that book was me. They all gasped in utter shock hearing my statement. You're saying before your dad died, he made this book for you? Ava nodded in response. Yes, after he made that book, I never saw him again. Ava spoke sadly. Luke studied Ava for a moment with Damien behind him staring at her as well. Is there something on my face? Ava questioned. What if we could find answers on your dad? Ava blinked in response. What do you mean? Luke sighed heavily. It comes with a high risk, but it's worth it if answers are extremely important to you. But it's haunted. Noah, Arwen, and Harris and Damien all looked at him. It's called the Haunted Library, or the Library of Doom, the Library of Death, etc. What's important to know is it's said to have the chilling secrets of people's deaths. Ava just stared at him. Is he crazy? Let's say it does exist. That's even more of a reason not to go. Oh, it does exist, and today you will find out all too well. And so will your new friends. An evil-sounding voice spoke in a low, chilling voice. Please tell me you guys heard that. Arwen yelled in alarm. Everyone just nodded their heads in response, too scared to say a word. I've heard a lot about you, Ava, the evil voice spoke again. From your dad. It cackled and laughed loudly. She sprung up with a desperate look on her face and tried to dart, but it was no use. The room shook and the earth quaked, and suddenly all the kids fell into a dark space. Ava squinted her eyes. The entities were in front of her once again, but this time they weren't smiling. The clown pointed at her suddenly as she laid on the ground in pain. This is a trap. If you give in, you will die. It spoke bluntly. The clown tilted his head once again, but with a frown, as Ava was terrified at its words. We can't let you die. It's not your time yet. Find your uncle. He will help. Then suddenly the entities disappeared and Ava was pulled out of the dark space and into a big library filled with rows and rows of huge books. I forgot how good my writing was. Ava looked in front of her and saw rows and rows and rows of huge, thick books. Even the biggest books she'd ever seen didn't compare. Getting up, even walked past some of the genres of books. Hauntings, possessions, exorcisms gone wrong. Those kids were right. These books tell horrible things. But are they actually true? Then one section caught her eye. It was a section for the Willow family. Her family. Willow was her last name. She darted in there, but couldn't find her dad at all. This way, dear, the voice chuckled. Suddenly a hallway appeared where a door used to be on the wall. Ava felt called to it and darted in there. Looking through the sections, these books were worse. Murders unsolved, possessions unsolved, haunted objects, etc. Looking at these books, they were all locked. She came to a certain section called The Shadow in Jamie's Unsolved Mystery. She reached for the locked book and it unlocked itself. She reached for it and reached for it. No, she heard a distant sound. She tried reaching for it again. Suddenly a hand was... Okay, I gotta skip that part. I can't read that part. Oh, thank you. All I'm going to tell you is that he kind of did something he shouldn't have, and he likes her. That's all I'm going to say. You have no idea how much you scared me. This place may tell chilling... Don't go in this section. It's always a trap. That was Damien's voice yet again. The others hadn't gotten in here yet, but he held on tight. You have no idea how much you scare me. This place may tell chilling truth that this library is still a haunted place. You have to be careful. He nuzzled his head into my neck. Why is this boy so obsessed with me? Why do you like me so much? We've only just met. He flinched in response, but stayed quiet. Okay, I won't read that part, because that's kind of... It's inappropriate for this stream. I'm sorry, you just worried me, and... Do you always fall in love this easily? He nodded no. He was obviously blushing from his own actions. It's okay, I'm not mad, just surprised. He gasped and lifted his head, obviously relieved. Let's get out of this section. It's dangerous, okay? Ava nodded. Suddenly all the lights went out of the room. Suddenly all the lights went out of the lit room filled with restricted books. What just happened? Ava yelled. She couldn't see, but she felt he was there. Somehow. Yes, that's a good idea. You should get out of here, said the chilling voice again. Before they knew it, they were being pulled into another room. This time it had even more books, which were thicker, so thick and big a human couldn't possibly hold one. Damien came up behind her and took her hand. I've never been in here this deep before, so be careful. Ava nodded. They walked slowly towards the ominous bookshelves, and then a table appeared with a book. Damien looked at Ava with a worried look. It'll be fine, Ava sighed. The table had a book labeled Jamie Woods. That was her dad's name. She reached for the book. Don't touch the book. She froze. That voice sounded familiar. It was small and weak, yet so familiar. She decided to ignore it and reach for the book again. Ava, don't touch that book, I mean it. She whipped her head around in every direction but saw nothing but the ominous table, the haunted library of doom, and Damien. You won't be able to see me. I am here, so please find me. You'll find me deeper in the haunted library. Suddenly, it hit her. She knew this voice. It was so familiar. She now knew who it was. She felt it. Ava couldn't stop it. The feeling in her eyes. Tears started streaming down. Damien ran to her since he was keeping his distance, hugged her once again and squeezed her tight. Our time is almost up, and when it is, let's talk, okay? Ava nodded. He hugged her nervously. This girl was extremely sensitive. While he didn't know her for very long, he picked up on one thing. She didn't cry very often, and when she did, it was something big. This girl was special. He could feel it. He had this feeling if he let her go, he'd never have a chance to be with her. Damien wasn't super religious, but he believed this was fate. Then everyone fell, and they were back into the normal library. Damien somehow... I forgot about this part. Damien somehow fell on top of Ava. She opened her eyes and saw him, and he smiled. Ava blushed and got him off. Ahem, said Luke. The friends of Damien looked at him with a weird look. He looked away like nothing happened and walked out. Then they all looked at Ava. When did you get so close? Said Luke and Arwen. To be honest, I have no idea. They all just stared at Ava as if she was some special being. It takes a lot to get Damien this attached, especially this fast, so remember that. Ava just nodded in response and looked behind her. So she wasn't seeing things. There it stood. Her father's dead cat she took care of after her dad died. It was the only thing other than the book that she had left of him. It meowed at her as if it knew she could see it. She frowned at it and just walked off to find Damien. He said he wanted to talk. She guessed since he hadn't stayed this was a private conversation. As soon as she was out of the library, she suddenly felt Damien hugging her from behind. He was pretty skinny compared to most boys, so it was easy to know it was him. Ava, is there a private place we can talk? She sighed in response. There's a tree house at my house if you're willing to go there. He nodded and we left. Damn, I really did get a lot of writing done on this. It is my favorite book though. Ava and Damien walked and walked until they reached her property and got to the treehouse. After all this talking, I do need a drink. She sat down and Damien attached himself to her again, hugging her tightly. Her back was against his belly and his legs over her hips. He was really obsessed with her. How old even was this kid? Ava herself was only 17, so how old was Damien to be this obsessed? Hi, welcome back. Okay. Mind telling me what happened back there? Why did you stop to look around? And I thought you wanted that book, he exclaimed. He was right. Ava knew she definitely needed to tell Amy at least what happened. She didn't know why, but she felt comfortable around him, even though she wasn't used to his touch or being touched at all. She didn't get this kind of attention from her parents or any family. It was nice, but she didn't want to show any affection back yet. After all, they don't know each other that well. If I told you I heard my dad's voice, would you say I'm crazy? His body jolted. Please tell me you're joking. Ava nodded her head. Unfortunately, she wasn't. If your dad is still alive in there, it would make sense as to why he went missing. She nodded. Did he talk to you? She nodded again. At first, I didn't recognize the voice, but he kept saying not to touch the book. And then later told me I wouldn't be able to see him and asked to be saved. Damien shivered. That can only mean one thing. There's a book in Luke's house. You know how he's Arabic? Ava nodded, listening to him. Obviously, this was going to be important. Well, his mom was a seer, an incredible, I can't speak. Well, his mom was a seer with incredible talent. At one point, she went on a mission to purify the haunted library. According to Luke, what he was told by his mother before she passed was she went up against the library, but it proved to be stronger than her, and she couldn't purify it or seal it away. It was so strong, but what she did find out is the library needs a host to stay alive. So if you see an entity controlling the library, it's the host. Ava gasped in response. What? Do you know who it is? Ava just nodded, making him continue. If your father is there, it means he's in the very last room of the library, in the deepest part of the library. There's just one problem. No one has ever gotten that far. Not even Luke's mom got that far. Ava, I don't want to say it's impossible, but it's definitely not wise. She slouched down. Hey, it's okay. We'll figure it out. There has to be a way to save him. Anyways, can you answer my question about the host? Ava thought for a moment. Should she tell him? Was that a wise decision? Based on the way the entity acted, she could probably get into the library all by herself if she wanted to. However, she knew that was a dumb decision. I think I might know who he is, but I don't know his true identity. In my dreams, I saw a tall, tannish-skinned man. He had long black hair. He seemed to be wearing 1900s British clothes for men, and he wore a smile on his face. Damien looked puzzled. That doesn't sound familiar. How about tomorrow after school we go to the normal library? There may be something there. Ava nodded, but she really doubted there would be anything. He sat there, still holding her. He wanted to ask, but how would he go about it? They've only just met. He knows all too well he can't live without her. Let's see how this goes, because I don't remember this. Ava's body shifted and she tried to dart. He knew if he let her, he'd never get another chance. He pulled her back into his embrace and she was face first in his chest. Ava, I know you don't want to hear it, but I really like you quite a lot. I'd like to get to know you better. Please, will you be my girlfriend? Damien asked. Ava flinched in response. He touched her back gently, brought her up a bit so they could be face to face. She was blushing, obviously embarrassed, but also had a confused and stunned look on her face. What's wrong? Damien asked. Ava stared at him. What would she even say? That no one has ever been this nice to her? No one has ever paid this much attention to her? She's never even dated anyone before. She could hurt him without even realizing it. The fact alone scared her. She tried to push him away, but he grabbed her arms in an instant. "Let go," she cried in tears. He sighed in response as if he knew this would be her reaction and embraced her again. "I'm not trying to scare you. I just like you. That's all. I know this is a lot to ask of you, and I won't get mad even if you hurt me, whether that's on purpose or an accident. All I'm asking for is a chance. Is that okay?" Damien asked very gently. Ava didn't know what to say. She was speechless. This boy pulled out all of the cards in his deck just for her. Even Luke and Damien never falls in love this easily. And based on how he acts, he's quiet most of the time. Damien is a super calculated person. He's just quiet about it. Alright. I guess a chance couldn't hurt. Damien immediately hugged her tighter as if he'd been waiting years for that. Ava didn't know how to react. She was inexperienced with love. She never knew much love. "Thank you, Ava. I promise you won't regret this." He spoke with excitement. Then they hugged for a while more before going separate ways to their houses. Walking back to her house, that felt like a prison. She had never felt this happy before. Suddenly she thought maybe things would get better. "Now that's interesting. Why are you smiling when your father's still missing?" Ava's head whipped around in an instant, and there it was, the entity of the haunted library. He was just standing there smiling, like the creepy creature he is. The entity just stood there as if he's always been there. "Why are you smiling? Tell me." Ava was frozen. How was he here, outside of her dreams in the haunted library? She had to run. She had to get out of here. Damien walked and walked in a very pleased and happy mood. Suddenly, he heard a scream. It was Ava's voice. He sprinted without thinking. There's only one reason she screamed like that. He had to get to her. He ran and ran past so many trees until he saw her. It was the entity she talked about. He fit her description perfectly.
Can you help me take out trash?
Okay, guys, I gotta go real quick, but if the stream ends, I'll be back, okay? So I'm not gonna be gone, I'm just gonna be back. So if the stream ends, I'll just restart the stream. let's get back to reading and then write. Okay. Okay. Damien walked and walked in a very pleased and happy mood. Suddenly, he heard a scream. It was Ava's voice. He sprinted without thinking. There's only one reason she'd scream like that. He had to get to her. He ran and ran past so many trees until he saw her. Okay, I need one here. It was the entity she talked about. He fit her description perfectly. Luckily, his dad used to be in the army. He had a knife on hand and knew exactly how to use it. Using all the strength Damien had, the knife got through and hit its target perfectly. There was one thing he was good at, it was precision. The knife cut through the heart of the creature and it screamed in pain. Hi, I'm back. And it looks like people came and then left. Unless they're still here and YouTube's just lying to me. Ugh, who would dare to try and kill me? Damien grabbed his face at the mouth and stared at him menacingly. Do not touch her, or I will kill you. The entity laughed straight to his face. You obviously didn't believe Ava's new boyfriend. You're such a liar. You won't kill me. You've already figured out the person you're talking to is the library itself. So if you want to read those books, you won't kill me. He laughed loudly. Then he looked at Ava with a big grin on his ghostly face. Besides, do you think I don't know what she's after? Damien growled at his words. This creature was cunning, too cunning for its own good. However, it does make sense. If it wasn't this cunning, it would have lost to Luke's mom. As Damien looked at the creature, its body was starting to disappear. Slowly, bit by bit, each particle was disappearing. Oh dear, it seems I'm out of time. Then he looked at Ava, who was completely petrified. If you want your father back, you will tell me what I was asking. Then he completely disappeared like he was never there at all. Okay, so that's where I stopped at. Let's see. Hello? Oh, there we go. So what do you think so far, Jess? Very curious. you love it. I'm glad. This story, it's mostly horror, but a different kind of horror. It's not like the horror where there's a bunch of sloshing, a bunch of characters dying left and right. It's not that kind of horror. I guess maybe you could consider this psychological horror, maybe. It has horror. It's mostly about horror, but it also has like some romance elements, some friendship kind of elements, and yeah. It's gonna be a good book. I think this is the book I probably want to finish. It already has like, let's see. This is chapter 6. So this is the farthest I've gotten any story. guys, thank you for staying with me in this long stream. I'm going to move so I can be somewhere more comfortable. But I'm so glad you love my writing. That means a lot to me. Honestly, I'm surprised like people are actually kind of like staying in my stream despite the fact that I'm not drawing. Like, that is super cool. I honestly thought if I wasn't drawing, people wouldn't stay in my streams. Because it's happened before. When I used to like do like gaming streams where I was playing like some anime-ish styled games, people wouldn't stay. So it's really nice to know that you're staying for my writing. Even though you can't actually see me writing, you just hear it. But I'm sure with you like drawing or whatever that is that you're doing, I'm sure this is probably nice to listen to. Okay, let's continue. Well, get up here if you're coming. Lay down. Do you have to be so loud? Okay, stop. Oh, I haven't been live again. I'm serious, okay. Jess, are you still there? No, I don't think I'm gonna do this yet. Okay, cool. Oh, I started doing a part of the story, but I didn't feel like I wanted to do it yet because I want to focus on Ava and Damien, like the relationship. Remy? Remy?
Yeah.
You okay?
Yeah.
Okay.
What's up?
Just wondering if you're okay.
Yeah, I'm good.
There should be one in there.
In there?
No, in my closet. I would just smell it, because some of them are clean, some of them probably aren't.
That sounds good. Need to do the towels. Just pull them out and fold them. That way they can be in here.
Yeah, and I'm just waiting to do that until I have the rest of that stuff done.
Okay.
Because
Do you
that
want me to
has
shut
more
this-
of them.
Do you want me to shut the door?
You don't have to, but you
Okay.
can if you
I
want
was
to.
gonna say I'm probably gonna turn the music up a little.
Oh, then yeah.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Hmm. Okay, I'm getting tired and I need to make something to eat because I haven't had any dinner yet. So I'm gonna go, guys. For real this time. So I will see you tomorrow.